Where do you learn to make a banana split? Sunday school. Ooh.
Oh,
I know. Now, what I should have done, and this would have won the whole thing, is I should have pulled out my wife's big three jokes, which were all cheese related, but I just don't do them justice. So I'm not going to do that. Very recently, you were doing a talk, sir, about
I
mental health.
was.
So tell
Yes.
us a little about it. Right? I know we're going from giggles and smiling to something a little bit more serious, but it's important. Tell us about the
Yes,
talk you gave.
so I was, where do we start? So quite a while ago, I applied to become a TEDx speaker just so I could whip the old Wong out and have it all over my banner, TEDx. Which I'm not gonna. But I got granted the stage for it. Then the pandemic came along, so it's been put on hold. But part of the talk that I did, or part of the audition, should I say, was about filters. And the TEDx talk actually goes out in October now. And it's about the filters that we put in our lives. When I was writing that, I started to write about things that had happened to me in the past, about the filters that I'd applied to my life. And it started taking me on a bit of a journey of I'm trying my hardest not to belch after having a big drink. And there's a monumental belch coming at some point. So I really am sorry if I suddenly just go, it's that. We'll get to the serious stuff. So the long story short, I fractured my neck playing rugby when I was 17, 18. That was a rugby career over. Joined the police force, did 3 years, saw some really awful shit. Didn't deal with lots of things that had happened in the past, like being told to go and say goodbye to your dad when you was 11 because he was dying of cancer. All of these things, he lived. A bit of a spoiler alert on that one, but he did live. It was good. But a lot of spoiler alert is alive. But all of that. Keep it serious, Jay. All of these little things, they all led to a point in my life where I got clinically depressed. And so part of the TED Talk was talking about this and about the filters that we put on our lives to cover the cracks. And I did more for my own sanity and more for me rehearsring that TED Talk. I actually put it on a podcast, on StreamYard, on Anchor. I did a story about it on LinkedIn. It went viral, and lots of people listened to it, and they were inspired by the story and that sort of stuff. One of those people that was inspired by that story was a lady who was organizing an event for her group. And this company deals with putting healthcare professionals into businesses to help them. So we've got people that have got heart and medical degrees, and they're working in mental health as well as physical health and this sort of thing. So we're doctors, nurses, practitioners, that sort of stuff. Yeah. So she reached out and she said, "Chris, would you mind coming and telling your story about what it's like to work with depression?" To be somebody that is still, highly functioning, but is still popping the happy pills. And I was like, yeah, more than happy to do that. So we arranged it, went out, and there's about 55, 60 of them in the room, all spaced out in chairs, 2 meters apart. It was like looking at a bloody, like a school exam room and everything. When I did the talk, I did the full talk, and we talked about the time where I was sat on the bridge and I was about to go and shut myself in front of a train. And we talked about the what led up to that and how I was treated by other people and all that. We went through that, and there was loads and loads and loads of questions about it. And what was absolutely phenomenal for me is that there was a whole room full of medical professional people. These are people that have actually studied and are educated.
Yeah, sure.
Not your Daily Mail readers who are telling us the anti-vax and all that sort of bollocks. These are actual medical people that we should probably listen to. They're listening to me, and they're asking me for advice on how to spot things and what I would do in certain situations and things like that. And to have my whole story, if you like, accepted by professionals was probably one of the biggest highlights of my adult life. And I'm not overplaying that or trying to kiss my own arse in that way, but to go from a point where one of the lines in the talk, and it sounds quite disgusting, But one of the thoughts that was going through my head, excuse me, as I was sat on that bridge, was if I get hit by the train, there was loads of blackberries on the side of the train track. Would people still pick them? And it's you can laugh. It's fine. It's funny to think
but
about.
those
It's
little
like, what
things that are sitting in, and that is the biggest
Yeah.
memory. Like, you know what I mean?
And those little things. So to be able to share what I thought were very, very whimsical, throwaway, stupid ideas, and for professionals and they, you know, I had to give them permission to laugh, because I felt at the start, it's like, I'm gonna be telling you some fucking awful shit right now,
But
and you're gonna be wanting to laugh.
The way I tell people stuff is, you know,
it might make you laugh. So there was, you know, I got talking, and about 5 minutes into it, I said, but you if you want to laugh, please do. Please don't be offended. I thought another thing as well is one of the biggest problems that I dealt with, which triggered me to go into to have a mental ill health, was when myself and my best mate Jonathan, when we were at school, our dads both had testicular cancer at the same time. My dad was always the iller one, and we used to play this sort of dark game of top trumps, whose dad's the worst. So we'd come back at the weekend, and it's like, oh, I saw my dad vomit blood today, or, you know, typical kids of dealing with shit really fucked up.
Really, no, but what else does a kid? How else does a kid? Yeah, sure.
Well, how do we deal with it? And when he didn't turn up one morning, and I did, and found out that actually his dad died, I lived right up until I had my first session of CBT therapy when I was in my mid-20s. I lived with the guilt of my dad being alive and his dad not.
Especially after
how
this top Trump's game. Yeah.
How fucked up is it for you to live with being guilty that your own father is still alive?
Mm-hmm.
Now that I'm not saying that for people to go, oh, that's rough, but for people to go, well, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
We can talk openly and honestly and about things like that regarding mental ill health. And it can be funny. It's allowed to be funny.
Yeah. Because life's hilarious. These ridiculous things which are thrown at us are hilarious. Yeah. And the things which make you break down in tears are also the things which a year later make you fall around laughing, right?
Yeah. We were very, if anyone's been in the emergency services, I did 3 years in the police. You develop a very, very, if you don't, you're out very quickly, but you develop a very warped sense of humor. And nurses have got it, firemen have got it, anyone that's dealing with life and death situations. And I dare say it's mostly centered around death, where that morbid sense of humility comes from. And humility, is that word? Hilariousness, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But I can remember doing CPR to a woman that the fire brigade had just brought out of her house. She got no clothes on; they'd been burnt off her, and given her CPR, and unfortunately she didn't make it, and we had to go to the next job. And me and my oppo were sat in the car driving to the next job. We got the lights on, and all we could smell was her dead skin. And what was worse?
How do you walk into the next call? Like, how do you walk into the next thing?
Well, what was worse is we'd just been to Lahore's in Birmingham and got a kebab. And all we could smell was this kebab. And I'm going, is it wrong that I'm still hungry, even though I can smell a dead person on me? Now, to any real human being, that's fucked up.
But how else do you do
That's totally messed up.
But also, for any normal human being, they're not in a situation where they can even talk about that, right? And what you're meant to do, sit there and just both you be in the car, be like, well, I hope the next call isn't quite as life-changingly horrendous as that. Like, it's a defense mechanism at the end of the day, right?
Exactly. And that, I think that's the whole point of this. We wanted to do this talk, we wanted to do the TEDx talk, and we're going to do lots more things about it in the future. Is the more people can talk openly and honestly about mental ill health, the less of a taboo subject it's going to be, the less of a stigma it's going to be, and the more widely accepted that people will be that are suffering.
Yeah.
And it's something that we can't fix overnight. We can't fix racism overnight. We can't fix sexism overnight. We can't fix anything to do with any of the isms overnight. But what we can do is start talking about them more.
Exactly. And I think the last year of the pandemic and everyone kind of having this shared devil on their back, this shared experience, this shared challenge has really helped to have the mental health conversation to be a little bit more prevalent and a little bit more
Yeah.
open. But I, s- I also see it as it's almost become in vogue.
Yeah.
Businesses that are talking about it aren't doing sweet FA about it, but they're the first
Yeah.
ones to be like, oh, our people's mental health
Yeah.
is most important to us. And it's like, it, you can't
Yeah.
cookie cutter like a solution for people to get out there, but you
Yeah.
can open up the kind of like the lines of
Yeah.
communication, so potentially people can ask for help or be there for help, or you can notice it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
mean,
Something's going wrong at home because my phone's just rang like 4 times from the missus. So
well, we've also done a nice
we'll
long
see.
show as well while you've been melting. I can't thank you enough for taking your trousers off before the show, so you've made it through without
So, do
sweating too much. That was very good of you. For those out there who want to find
you
you,
want to
Chris,
see?
yeah, hey! For those out there who aren't following you already, where can people find you, Mr. Chris?
Well, I live in Tamworth.
We've had like 70 episodes of this show and no one's answered like that.
Well, that's where you'll find me. I mean, normally on the golf course at Drayton, but yeah,
Right. And if not,
otherwise
then
find me on
search for
LinkedIn.
Chris Williams on LinkedIn.
Yeah, no, don't. There's like 22,000 of us.
Sons of.
It might be 2,000, but there's a fucking lot of us.
Okay. Well, he looks like this.
Yeah,
And he does.
yeah, yeah. Like a slightly fatter James Corden. Actually, I was playing rugby last night, and one of the other guys on the other team said, "You look a bit like Richie McCaw." I was like, "Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that. Fuck yeah, I
Salsa.
will." Yeah.
I remember being about 4 or 5 stone heavier and having a drink in London, and someone who was pished out of their mind came over and would not believe that I was Ryan Gosling, who had put on weight for a role. And I lent into it for the whole evening. I let him buy me drinks. I signed things. Ryan GOS Gosling. Ding, ding. I had a lovely night because of it. Chris, thank you so much for
Love
joining
it.
us post 18 holes. You're the absolute man. Guys, go and find out Chris. He does proper LinkedIn marketing, as we said. He's making a different noise, and you should listen to it because it's sexy as anything. Go and grab your phone call, Chris, because that's more important. Can't
Right.
have things happen at home. You sexy soul. Mr. John, take us to the bridge, sir. What the hell are you still doing here? That was a 45-minute show, and you're still here hanging out. Well, if that's the case, I would love it if you'd do me a favor. We have checked the analytics, and we know about 40% of the people who watch these shows are currently subscribed. The other 60%, they fly by night, they listen and they leave. Don't be part of 60, be part of 40. It makes me happy, it makes the team happy, and quite frankly, it makes those algorithms happy. So if you could do us a favor, hit subscribe, like, all those good things. It will make this happen. Yay! And I'll have a big smile, but also it will mean we can continue to have great guests on and keep pushing up the show. Catch you for another episode of The Daily Show as soon as we can get one out.